sends engineers to build bridges for the Americans. That America landed on the moon is due to German technology. So you can just list it. 87% of all the cars driven all over the world are German cars. But these people had no oil. These people had no gold. They had nothing except the human beings.
Yes.
And Nigeria, we over 200 million human beings. Creative, talented individuals. If you see Nigerians outside, these guys are powering many economies. But why is that not happening in this country?
Do you
It's
think
because
Nigerians are ready for this? I remember the president said at some point that Nigerian youths are lazy. Do you think that also affects some of these things you're talking about?
who am I to criticize a man who thinks that he's the president? But once a president rises up to pass a vote of no confidence on his own people, that tells you more about the character of the man than about his people. Because a father will always defend his kid to the greatest extent possible. But if you come to the public and tell the whole world that your kid is useless, your kid will become useless because it's psychological. That means you have been putting your kid down. So Nigerians are creative people. We have a pool of talent that could move this country forward. But we have decided to clamp down on them. And that's why we have these agitations. Okay, a minority are sitting on top of the resources because we are a rentier economy. We just sit down the oil that God gave us. We just make money out of it. We don't produce anything. We are even importing toothpicks from China. China will start selling Gary to us tomorrow. And then we are here claiming to be the giants of Africa.
Importing palm oil.
Chinua Achebe told us we're not even giants. We have the potentials of becoming great. But why are we not great yet? It's simply and squarely the failure of leadership at all levels, from the local government chairman to the councillor to even to the governors. I don't even want to get into that because when I start talking about it, I am so very miffed. I have traveled the world. I have seen how other countries have started from the ground upwards, building up their citizens for development. China, how long did it take China? China is rubbing shoulders with the United States today. America is owing China hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yes.
China, that in the 70s, people were dying of hunger. China had 400 million poor people then. And Nigeria, how many of us are poor? Almost all of us. The doc here said that we are negotiating our lives. It's so very unfortunate. You live in a society where you don't know that whether you wake up tomorrow. How can you plan?
Going to have. Okay, so Chief Charlie Okwesili, I have this question for you. You've been in the media for a very long time. I'm sure that some of these conversations have come up, and all these years we've been saying almost the same thing on radio, on television, and newspapers. Why haven't the government changed? What do you think we've not done enough?
Thank you very much for this question. You see, in fact, the only sectors that are still functioning in this country, genuinely, are the media and people who are in the private sector who are not enjoying any patronage from government. These two arms. The other ones are dead. Are you talking about the judiciary? Remember what happened shortly before this government was enthroned the second time? A chief justice of the country was removed, preparatory to an action that took place after the election. Now, somebody who they know is a cleric of the Islamic religion, is manning the internal, communication and the digital economy of this country, which means they register who comes in, who becomes a citizen. And at that same time, prior to that, the government has opened its doors to widely Fulanis from 14 countries. They held a meeting some time ago in Yobe. Of course, Governor Tom was out yesterday and was saying it. So what do you think this man ought to have done? Or he hasn't done? Or has already finished doing? That's why they have kept him there, despite the hue and cry by Nigerians. Can we look at the army? The army of this country. Have they not? The entire military setup has been brought down to rubbles. As I'm talking to you, the navy, the infantry, the artillery, look at the police, for instance. They are now on the run. They are not performing. Are we talking about the civil service? That one has degenerated to comatose as it is today. Check out. What are we earning as people who work in the public sectors? Nothing.
He mentioned something about 500, which is now
That's
up
what
to
I'm
$1, and that kind of scared me,
can we talk about the entire financial sector? That one is singing a different tone. The governor of Delta State, CBN, Edo State, printed $60 billion. This woman came to say no. The man at CBN came out to say it's true. That is, there's no sin about it. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? A government should have priority. A government should have focus. A government should be able to be responsive and listening to the people. But what are we having today? It's just a pity and unfortunate.
All right, let me quickly come to you, Sarah. Let's look at all of this complaints have been going back and forth. What if we were giving the opportunity to stand out? How do we start? Where do we start from? They said it's never too late to begin.
You see, you can't build something on nothing and expect good results. You can't continue to do same thing, same way, same method, same approach, even for 5 years, 10 years, and expect different results. Nigeria is built on fraudulent foundation, and the consequences are now staring us in the face. When you look at, from independence, all the constitutions review, enactment, and all that has been created to favor particular set of people. In Nigeria, we have two sets of laws, one for the other people, one for the other people. Even in Nigeria today, this insecurity, northwest and northeast, it is called Boko Haram. Mm-hmm. Northwest, it is called bandits. You come to north central, it is called kidnapping. Mm-hmm. You come to southeast, the unknown gunmen. You go to southwest, it is called Fulani herdsmen. Mm-hmm. Then you go to south, it's called the militant. One issue, different coloration, just to entertain their own political sentiment. Now you come to a country where you score. Sorry to say, Jude, you are from the north, I think.
I'm from the middle. Yeah, you can call it that.
You score 180 in an entrance examination, you are given a point admission. Another person from another region, one country scores 280 is denied admission. Tell me, will that person have confidence in his own country? Tell me the patriotic level of that person. And say widespread. These are foundational issue. What is the reason behind quota system? You tell me that some people are educational less advantaged states. But you go to ministries, there are more. How did they acquire those education in order to be at the top? Go to ministry, go to judiciary, go to military, go to police, go to everywhere. They are the civil side, they are the top. But you want to admit people into the university, you don't give them
equal balance.
You low down their mark because they are less advantaged educationally. But when you get to appointment, they now be. It's so fraudulent that National Assembly, state governors, no state state assembly is functioning. All of them are moribund. Oh, wow. All of National Assembly moribund. Now we don't even have the presidency again. Sorry to say. For example, no leadership. Since the killing, how many times have you had a direction that this is what we tend to do from the presidency, and nobody cares? The only thing we have, Gary Bonchewu will say somebody was young, that's why he made a statement. Then what is the idea of me committing a crime at the age of 30 and being convicted? Then in the 20 years later, I will become a minister. Why do you, the same consider says ex-convict cannot be elected or be appointed? But somebody who did this, you will say it's because he was young. Femi Adeosun, one of the finest finance minister we had then, because he's from a particular area, she was made to resign. But she committed that offense when she was young too. Okay. Why didn't they apply the same thing? So when you look at a country that's built on fraud, on injustice, Professor Obiozo, the president of Ohanese, he made a statement, very simple, very germane. He said, you deny people of justice, you deny people of fairness, you deny people of equity, they will never be interested in the peace you are preaching. Okay. And until justice made available to everybody, then you will now begin to generate.
Thank you. Peace. Now, Mauritius, an Indian Ocean island, was ranked first in Africa and 38th on the global scale with an index score of 0.5670. Zimbabwe was Nigeria's runner-up, followed by Venezuela at the bottom of the log. Shouldn't we be concerned by this rating, bearing in the mind that Nigeria is supposedly the giant of Africa?
Well, Sarah, we are no giants.
We are not giants.
We are no
It's a
giants. Let's not.
self-deception.
We have to put
Yes,
that fact on the
exactly.
table.
We are no giants.
Nigeria is not a giant. Nigeria is one of the dwarfs that I've ever seen. How could you call a country a giant
By population, based on the fact that we
Population
have the
doesn't
numbers.
make you a
What does that
giant.
one mean?
Well,
It's numbers.
yeah,
isn't it?
No.
200
It's how you
pounds
use
of
the number that
100
goes in.
pounds of feather and 100 pounds of sand have the same weight because they're 100 pounds.
Yes.
But if you want to build, you can build with feathers, can you? You only build with sand. So that's just Nigeria. We are just making noise about our greatness. But we have not proven this greatness when the push comes to shove. We have the potentials of being great, but we are not there yet. Finland came first. That's the country which we're measuring ourselves with. Finland, on all indices of human development, these Scandinavian countries are in another planet.
Exactly.
Okay, from childcare at the nursery level, from treatment of school pupils in the primary schools to the university level. I just came back from Germany. There is free education from the nursery school to the PhD level, to the highest level you can ever wish to attend. The government takes care of it.
a welfare
In
society.
Nigeria, I heard that the university in Kaduna increased school fees from 26,000 to 500,000. And Nigerians don't even make up to $1 a day. Over 70% of us. How are these people going to fund the education of their kids? And how can these people that we are going to train have the mind to remain here to contribute to this country? Everybody wants to leave. That's just the thing. If you want to see how bad Nigeria is, go to Oboete Market today and tell them that there are free visas to the United States. Oboete Market will be depopulated in a second. You get the point. So for you to see how terrible Nigerians feel about Nigeria, we don't have hope anymore. This ship has sailed. Unless Nigerians get to the table of dialogue to sit down to equally even ask, are we ready to be together as a one country? Because the prof here talked about
Do you
the
think that
injustice.
will help though? Like if even if we decide to say, okay, everybody,
If
go
we
on
don't
your-
talk-
do you think that the index will be different?
If we don't talk,
Yes.
if we don't talk, we are going to end on the battlefield,
We have
killing
to
each other.
talk.
Okay, now that brings me to the next question, which is,
just-
in your thoughts, what do you think is the major challenge of good governance in Nigeria? Is it the leadership or the followership? Because he mentioned school fees going up from 20 to 500, and yet you still see people who can afford to take their children to these schools, and you know that their salaries are not up to these. So, well, the question is, who are we to blame? Is it the government alone, or we are part of this?
It's both ways. The leadership has the greater portion of the blame because they drive the people. They have to drive. He made mention of Germany. I've been to Germany many times. One day we were at eating. We went to central Berlin. We were eating. I told them they were talking about people that are not ready to work. Instead of going for 500 euro a job in a month, they won't work. Then I tapped myself. My salary is not up to 500 euro. And these people are thinking I'm a professor from Nigeria. I'm a rich man. It dawned on me that, look, I'm not even a rich. I'm a poor man. 500 euro. My salary is not up to 500 euro. But nobody, the leadership drive, nobody want to be led. It's very difficult to be led. But the leadership will tell you this is the right place to go. Look at the history of Singapore, where this
Yes, of course.
Go and, when you read from third world to first, the story of Singapore's by Lee Kuan Yew, you look how the leadership can take its country from nothingness to something. But in Nigeria, we hardly have a pan-Nigerian leader. Everybody sectionalism. When you bring an issue to a president or a governor or a senator, the first thing, where does he come from? Where is he from? Who is the father? Who is the mother?
Which religion?
Which
does he
religion?
belong to?
Then when a leader begins to think like that, then, and it's apparent, that's what they are thinking. But Comrade Dede said something here yesterday. He said, assuming the constitution did not accommodate national spread, politicians will not even be reaching out to anybody. They will just stay in their enclave and get to power. They are coming, somebody contested the election from Kaduna State, is coming down to Southeast because he needs national spread. Without national spread, you and I as good as nothing. And that's the basis of our situation. We need to tell ourselves the truth. Get back to what he said about Germany. Germany has never been afraid of their past. they will come and talk about it, no matter how ugly. I was at a conference in Humboldt University. I told them this is what I want to. They said, no problem, you can say it. I told them everything about what German did to Africa. This same Berlin, this is where they decimated Africa. They were clapping for me. But in Nigeria, I had no go area. This one, no go
We
area.
have gray areas
This one,
in some
no
of
go
our
area.
history.
This one, don't discuss. When we don't discuss all this, how do we push forward?
Who's actually?
Your question was what we could do
Yes, and then
to
who's-
restore normalcy.
Yes, what